Hi, I'm Ivan Slavic, the CEO of Soldier On, coming to you from the Australian War Memorial in Canberra. Well, what a wonderful initiative by the Aussies and Kiwis for ANZAC. Australians and New Zealanders getting together to enable us to commemorate and honour those who have fallen and veterans who have served and are currently serving to defend Australia and New Zealand. Soldier On is delighted to be part of this. Soldier On enables veterans and their families to thrive. Funds raised by this campaign will be used to support veterans and their families. Encourage you to be a part of this wonderful initiative to support veterans and to honour those who have served our country. Thank you.
G'day, Ivan.
Ivan, we do have you on the screen with us. You did make it. So I'd like to welcome to that side of me. We have sorry, everything's in reverse. We've got Kiwis for ANZACs, and on this side of me, we've got Ivan with their matching haircuts. Sorry, guys, I wasn't doing that one for you today. So we have Ivan from Soldier On, and we've just watched your little intro video, Ivan. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here on your live stream.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, I didn't even know about Soldier On until about a month ago. It kept popping up in the talks that we were all having on the Aussies and Kiwis for ANZAC's page, because obviously, you know, there are a lot of charities out there that do things to help the veterans and help the ANZACs, but there's also a lot of people out there that want to support those charities and those groups, and that was where your name kept popping up and where we kept finding out about you. So I'm just going to put a picture up. It'll get rid of all of our, it might get rid of all of us. We'll put this picture up. This is from your Facebook page. So I'm guessing that pretty much is your tagline, the fact that Soldier On works side by side with those who have served and continue to serve our nation and their families to help secure their future. So in layperson terms, get rid of the picture. Okay, in layperson terms, what does that mean?
Yeah, so in some respects, we've updated that vision statement for Soldier On. So it means that we probably need to update that page. Not that there's anything wrong with what's said there, but so our vision is that we enable veterans and their families to thrive. And thrive is a really important word because, you know, there's a lot of, you know, discussion and rhetoric around veterans being damaged people, and the reality is a proportion of veterans are, but the vast majority of veterans, you know, great contributors to society, very, very capable, and indeed, you know, the veterans that have, you know, ended up running multinational companies and take, like, you know, here in the ACT, there's Aspen Medical, who, in fact, have been doing a fair bit of this COVID-19, and that's, you know, the guy who set that up, you know, is, you know, Glenn Keys is someone who's, you know, incredibly capable, and if you have a look at, you know, how many veterans have served since 1990. So Soldier On really looks after contemporary veterans. There's been 290,000 men and women that have served in the Australian Defence Forces since 1990. And if you take into account their families, there's about 1 million people Australia-wide that have a direct relationship with the Australian Defence Forces. And if you then add the Kiwis to that as well, of course, because this is Aussies and Kiwis for ANZACs, not just us Aussies. You know, if you take the Kiwis that have served in the military as well, you know, you're looking at, you know, 1.2 to 1.3 million people that have not an indirect, a direct relationship, and it's no wonder, that your site has resonated so much in the community, because with that many people with a direct relationship, and if you then take into account families of Australians and Kiwis who have had some sort of military connection, it's massive. Like in both our countries, it's a huge cohort of people that have a direct and a very close relationship with military service.
Well, there's a lot of things around supporting those families, I'm guessing, because I mean, I live in a small community, but I know, one of the mums from school, her eldest son is in the services. One of the kids that went to school with my daughter, her dad's a major in the services. And
Yes.
so just even things like the fact that they're constantly moving around. And so, actually setting roots somewhere is that much harder as well.
Exactly, and that's a big part of what Soldier On's about. So we use the HELP acronym to describe the services that we provide for contemporary veterans and their families. And indeed, there are many, many currently serving people that are involved with Soldier On as well, as they consider their transition from the military to civilian life. So we use the HELP acronym. H stands for health and wellbeing, E is for employment, L is for learning, and P is for participation. So if I go through those four elements, with health and wellbeing, we have a number of psychologists that work for us that help with PTSD and mental health issues. We have yoga, nutrition, and our recent March On campaign was all about fitness as well. So marching up, we've got a Kokoda cohort, which unfortunately can't go now, but will be going next year. And we've had mountain options and hill options. And the employment side, we've got 180 fostering him in with the chairman of Soldier On, Peter Lay. I better let him go, former Chief of Army. So he's obviously not watching me in this live stream.
I won't take him.
So shame on him.
So that's the health side of things. And then on the employment side of things, we've got 180 organisations. Organisations like BAE, Northrop Grumman, Qantas, Boeing, all these really fantastic organisations who have signed the Soldier On Pledge, and that's providing an employment opportunity for military people to go into civilian life. And then on the learning, on the education side, we've got 26 educational institutions that help with skill gaps, doing courses. The other big part of that is recognised prior learning, RPL. So that's, people who've been in the military and actually having qualifications that enable them to utilise those qualifications into the civilian workforce. And then P, finally, participation. And just hitting on that point that you just made about moving around the country. When people do settle down after being in the military, often they might be settling down in Newcastle, but they've got friends in Brisbane and where they did their service. So the participation is all about providing social connections, social activities for our veterans and their families, so they can reconnect. Because there's this great team camaraderie that exists when one is in the military. And we try to replicate that, and we've got sailing on Sydney Harbour, we've got golf and garlic braiding, sea glass making. They even play Dungeons and Dragons over in Perth. So there's so many varied activities that we do as part of that.
Yeah, that's back to the learning one. That like I've never served, but I worked for the public service at one stage, and I know when I chose to leave the public service that the hardest part was getting my head around the fact that I did actually have skills that were transferable to the outside world. So I can imagine that with the services and all the different skills that they learn there, that they do have many skills that are relatable outside, but it's getting your head around how they're relatable. Because if you've been doing the telephone in one particular way, it takes a long time for you to actually realize that you've got those skills to talk to people, or those skills that come from having done that job.
Yeah, and one of the ways I describe it is that there are some activities that take place in the military which are very transferable, relatable to the civilian world. So, for example, if you're a chef in a mess,
Yeah.
obviously, not right now with COVID-19, unless you're doing like takeaway. But there's skills that are directly transferable and relatable to civilian life. But there are other active or logistics, for example. There's great logistical skills in the military, and you can really transfer that with project management and so forth. But if you're a gunner on a piece of artillery, there's not too many applications for firing a gun in civilian life, a howitzer. So, there are.
It's getting around all those skills associated with that, because there's planning, there's communication, there's
Teamwork and
all those other things that, whilst okay, we don't want you to come out and do that out here, but the skills that you learnt from that are definitely transferable.
Exactly. So it's and that's what this RPL, this recognised prior learning, is, so that those in the military who may not have received a particular certificate for activity whilst in the military, we've got organisations that recognise there's a process where they can recognise the prior learning in the military, and then get a certificate which says, okay, this person is in fact qualified on project management or some sort of team leadership type skills. So, and that's a lot of what we do. And of course, we have many service personnel who served in Afghanistan, Iraq, Solomon Islands, East Timor. I mean, Soldier On is very much focused on contemporary veterans. And then that's not to say we're going to turn away a Vietnam veteran or a Korean veteran. Of course, we'll look after them as well. But our focus is very much on contemporary veterans, because there was a feeling amongst contemporary veterans that, a lot of what gets discussed and debated tends to be that sort of, World War II, World War One type of service. But the reality is we have within our community right now 290,000 people that have served in the military, and that service is different from what took place. I mean, there's a lot of commonalities, obviously, but there's a contemporary feel to those veterans, and Soldier On is very much geared towards meeting the needs of our contemporary veterans.
No, that's amazing. Like I said, I had some notes and things of what it was, and they made sense. But the way you've explained it, it really does sort of give us a clearer picture of what it does. So the fact that you sort of do the HELP acronym thing and look at supporting them from so many different angles, and not just them, their families as well, because that's it. When dad goes off to work or mum goes off to work, it is everyone that is affected by that.
Exactly, and that's the point. It's not only veterans; it's their families as well. So it's we can have situations where there are health issues associated with those who have had to serve and they're often away from home, particularly if they've done a tour of Afghanistan or Iraq. I mean, it's pretty tough, raising a family, and there's some issues associated with that as well. So a lot of what we do is preventative as well. So we try to, of course, the rate of veteran suicide is a national tragedy, and what we like to do is engage in preventative measures before we get to that. So I think having a job, having conducting education or recognizing that prior learning, and that social connection, really difficult right now. We've actually got a virtual program that people can have a look at through our website called Connect Hub, where we're providing resources and we're doing telehealth and providing activities online, in the current COVID-19 environment. But normal in a non-COVID environment where we're having coffee catch-ups, we're playing golf, We're doing guitar lessons. We've got ukulele lessons. There's just so many different things that literally thousands and thousands of veterans are engaged. So I'm really, really grateful that Aussies and Kiwis for ANZACs are supporting Soldier On. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I still can't get over that headshot there, Justin. But
I haven't looked at the comments yet because I haven't got my glasses on, but I'm sure there's some in there about my fight with
somebody
the
did say they liked it. So Trev, who we're talking to tomorrow, said he likes the new look. But,
you're gonna have the same problem. You're gonna have sorry, I interrupted.
That's right. We haven't got many comments, or I can't see any at the moment. So, but no, people are welcome to sort of put any comments, or if they've got some questions while we have Ivan here. If you do have any questions, please pop them in the comments, and we will see them. They should pop up on the side of my screen there. So,
well, Justin, I was just going to say, Justin's got my problem as well, getting up in the morning, trying to work out what sort of hairstyle he's going to have in the morning.
Way do I part it?
What compelled you to do that, Justin? That's just amazing.
Have you seen him lately?
What's the backstory? I missed something.
I've done it for years, actually. The hair, my hair grew out over the course of the last few months, and I needed a haircut. And I thought I'd get a proper haircut, but now we can't. So I said, shave it all off again, get rid of the grey,
That's hilarious. That's just, that.
Well, because the other option for the grey, of course, is to go pink. So I kind of figure, yeah. What yourself?
Living in Ballarat is maybe not the smartest decision to do this because it does get very cold here, but I've got my bandana and my beanie here somewhere. So I'll pop my do-rag on, like a rag, and I'll be okay.
There you go.
What's really amazing is that totally unrelated, but Justin and I actually used to work together like over 10 years ago when I was the CEO of TransAct, which is a Tier 2 telco. We bought and owned a business called Neighbourhood Cable, which was in Mildura, Ballarat, and Geelong. And so Justin and I used to work together, which was totally serendipitous, just totally coincidental.
Yeah.
And over the last few years, I've been really active in the suicide prevention field, and I've worked alongside the Melbourne members of the Melbourne branch of Soldier On, and I love the work that they do. So I reached out to Soldier On and said, "Can I speak to your fundraising manager, Barry?" And during the course of that conversation, he's like, "Oh, we should get Ivan Slavic in here for a conversation." Ivan who? Had no idea that Ivan had moved to Soldier On, and it's just one of those, like you said, serendipitous. One of those stories of things lining up. And like I said, I worked in suicide prevention. I think it's a really important discussion that our communities need to have, and a really it's a complex issue, but it's a major issue in Australia. The suicide rate is 2.5 times the road toll, and veterans are particularly at risk. They're very much an at-risk cohort. So I love the work that Soldier On's doing in that preventative space, trying to help people to thrive before they hit a point where they think that there's no other option for them.
Yeah, I mean, having a psychologist at the mental health stuff is a service that we provide, but we try to, avoid having to get to that point because, if you've got a job, you're getting an education, and you're connecting with people. I mean, we know, connection is such an important component of what we do. That sort of team. Connecting with people, and obviously in a COVID-19 environment, governments are very concerned about the mental health of many people, as we're locked down and in this sort of COVID-19 environment, and it's no different for our veterans and their families as well. So that's really an important consideration.
You're right, Ivan. There's a bit of a misunderstanding or a stigma out in society that suicide is directly related to poor mental health or mental illness, whereas the research and the truth of the matter is that it's psychosocial triggers or social distress that causes a lot of people to get that desperate that they feel their only way out is to take their own life. And it's things like financial pressures, lack of work, relationship breakdowns. There's a number of contributors, and mental illness is only about 11% of suicidal people. That only 11% actually have a mental illness, as a diagnosed mental illness.
Yeah, exactly.
So preventing them getting to that point is absolutely what we should be doing. And there's a lot of work going on that people may not know about in that space. There's trials run all over the country with the primary health networks and different communities trying different things. I know that in Geelong and a number of other places, there's mental health workers are co-rolling, or they're riding with ambulance workers and police to provide a compassionate, understanding face alongside those clinical and policing strategies. So the members that I speak with are really frustrated with what they call the revolving door of either putting someone in a lockup or putting them in a hospital. And some of those trials that I'm speaking of are working to close those gaps and to be very person-centric, and they're working. So I think we're going to see a lot more conversation and a lot more change in the area of how we manage psychosocial distress, family court, and all of those other things that contribute to this really complex issue.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, I've been in this role for about 7 months, and I've served in the military myself, but most of my career has been in that sort of corporate exec type roles. And what I always got a lot of satisfaction out of was working for not-for-profit and charity. And in the 7 months I've been here, what's been so powerful to me is I've had lots and lots of veterans that have come up to me and have said to me that Soldier On saved my life. If it wasn't for Soldier On, I'd be dead. And it's just so powerful. And this goes from in terms of psychological services. I mean, like we also have like gym memberships through Club Lime. We had one veteran who lost 40 kilograms through the gym membership that we're able to provide them through our partners at Club Group, Viva Leisure. They're listed on the stock exchange. They're not operating at the moment, but we've got a lot of really fabulous supporters. We've got the Chalchak Wing Foundation, who are just amazing supporters. They are a famous, very amazing Australian citizen of Chinese heritage, and he's pledged 1.5 million over 3 years. So he's an amazing contributor. But Boeing and BAE and Qantas, and there's so many, Fujitsu, there's so many good corporates that look after us. But what we found is that even though we've got this support, we just can't meet the demand. There's just so much demand for our services, particularly now in the COVID-19 environment. So I think this fundraiser that you guys are doing through, having obviously this, having Driveway at Dawn is just amazing, but having a cause and supporting Soldier On, I can assure that all your supporters that the money is going towards supporting veterans and their families through Soldier On, and I'm very, very grateful that you've picked us as your charity to support.
Yeah, we will run the little ad thing before you leave as well, just so that people can see how they can contribute at the moment. And Jay will find the link, because I know we have there is a link directly to donate to Soldier On as well. So we'll pop the link up as well.
So what I might do actually, Tia, I might jump out of the conversation and let you two talk. I'll grab that link and pop it in the comments, and I'll help on some of these questions that our members have.
Yeah, that'd be good, because I know it's there somewhere, but I haven't. I've put the website up, but I don't have that link, and I know that you've got that link. So while Justin does that, Ivan and I will stay here. We'll get rid of Jay. Justin, there we go. How's that? There we go. It's your little ad thing in the middle here. There's no words on it, so we can continue talking. But this is I've got to work out which side I'm sitting on now. These are some of the amazing companies that sort of jumped on. You know, people were trying to share their stuff on our page, and we're like, no, it's you know, we're looking at donating to a charity, and all of these agreed that Soldier On was just such a good charity to support that. That's why they're allowed to advertise on our page now. So, which was great. So Justin's found the link. So it's the giveeasy.org driveway at dawn promotion that people can just directly donate to as well. So
yeah, and we've got and with that, and look, first of all, can I just thank all those organisations that have agreed to support Soldier On with their merchandise. Thank you so much. We're very, very grateful for that. In terms of the Give Easy Driveway Dawn, we've also, if there's a virtual pin that will come with that as well. So there's the Android app is available. We're working on those with using Apple iOS systems. So there'll be a website that will be available shortly to provide that as well. So you'll be able to have a virtual pin that we've designed indicating your support of Driveway at Dawn and also Soldier On, obviously, through supporting. And anyone that donates $10 or more will actually get a physical version as well, which is pretty exciting. It's a great looking pin. Have you done a reveal of that pin to your followers?
I'm not sure. I know there's been, I have seen posts about pins, and you know what, it's I've been focused on getting myself prepared for doing these interviews. And just to give you an idea of what has been going through our page in a month, today, the last picture that I saw, we have over 221,000 followers. Wow. So it has been astronomical. Today alone, we've had to approve over 500 posts to the group. So, so I tend to catch up with the day later tonight. So, I'm not quite sure about the pins. I know Jay knows about the. Jay will be up on top of it. Yeah, there you go.
I'm back.
The pins.
We had the bookends before. What's going on?
I think it's because I came in late. So when you go to the Facebook group, pinned at the very top is the donation link, the post about donating, and there's an image in that which is the Soldier On pin. When you donate any amount, whether it's 20 cents or $20, that pin will become available to you on the social media frames within the app. So when you take a selfie, you can have that I donated pin on there. And if you donate over $10, you'll actually receive a physical pin, one that you can put on your lapel in the mail after ANZAC Day, because we can't do it beforehand. We need to know how many we're actually sending out. So once ANZAC Day is passed and those donations have been collated, we'll be in touch with everybody to say what's your physical address, and we will send that pin out to you. So donations over $10, you get a keepsake. It's a unique keepsake for this unique event that we're seeing happen with Driveway at Dawn. So I encourage everybody, $10, it's a couple of lattes, and it's going to make a huge difference to families and veterans out there. So that's enough from me. I'll dive back out. Bye.
Can you share that? Oh, he's gone.
No, he can still hear you.
I've got to say, you should share that pin so people can see what that pin looks like, Justin. I think that would be
okay, he's on it. He's having a look for it now, and he will bring that one back up. Now, obviously, Soldier On isn't just something that's been created for the moment. Okay, it is an ongoing service, and so if people need your service, how do they find you, or do you? Like, how do you marry up with the service people that require you?
Yeah, look, obviously we're in a number of locations around the country. So we're in Canberra, Sydney, Newcastle, Port Macquarie, Albury, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, and Brisbane. and we're looking to also expand to Darwin. There's a new veteran hub that's going in up there, so we'll have a resource in Darwin for employment and education. So Luke Gosling, the MP up there, has been chasing us pretty hard, so we'll be up there as well, and also in Tasmania. So we're physically located across the country. Not everywhere, but we're wanting to go to more and more locations. The more money we get in to support us, the more locations we can provide those help services that we described earlier. But the best way, I think, is to get onto our website, www.soldieron.org.au. So there's the pin, and that's the pin that we've designed, with Justin and the team. Driveway of Dawn in their honour on ANZAC Day 2020, 25th of April, and proud supporters of Soldier On. So there'll be a virtual pin that's available for those who donate. And for those who donate $10 or more, there will be a physical version that you'll have. We'll get everyone's addresses and mail it out. So thanks for sharing that, Justin. So I think that's a really great, something to recognise your support of Soldier On, but B, a great keepsake. You donate $10, and let's face it, that's like 2 cups of coffee at the cafe. So it's not.
And I'm not going out to buy the coffee at the moment. So, although I will say I still have been going out just, if I've got to go get bread and milk, get my essentials, I've been supporting my local cafes and grabbing a coffee. But the homemade stuff's just not the same, is it?
Although I've got a son who's a barista from the cafe here in Canberra, Urban Pantry, and he makes a bloody good coffee, but I can't make it. But he makes a terrific coffee. Hey, the other thing I was going to mention was I'm obviously dressed up in a suit. I don't normally dress in a suit at home, working in my home office, but we just finished shooting the video content for our commemorative service that we're looking to do on ANZAC Day. So after the Driveway at Dawn and the service that will be streamed from the ABC, we've put together a 40 to 45 commemorative service that will include our chair, the former Chief of Army, Peter Lay, the Governor General and his wife are joint patrons of Soldier On. We've got Shannon Knoll, who's doing the Red Gum rendition of I Was Only 19. So he's done a new acoustic and a rock version. So we'll have that there. We've got a proper order of service with the Reverend and the Ode and the Australian National Anthem and that. So that'll be streamed immediately after the dawn service from the Australian War Memorial. So from 6:30, and we'll be having that on our loop through our website. And in fact, the ABC has even asked about what we're doing because they're pretty keen to get content for ANZAC Day. So there's a good chance it will actually be streamed on the ABC as well.
Excellent.
Well, we'd be quite happy to run a watch party or to co-stream that on our site as well for you. And although we haven't announced it yet, there's a lot of content that we're going to be putting out on the afternoon of ANZAC Day, and there'll be a major announcement about that very, very soon. It's pretty huge. There's been some teasers along the way from OJ, but it's going to be a really impressive afternoon. Yeah.
No, look, that's really, really exciting. And look, in essence, with this whole movement of Driveway at Dawn, and it's amazing how many people have got on board with this. There are lots and lots of smaller groups that have formed up as a result, and we keep trying to redirect them to this main group, which is the original Driveway at Dawn group. But the sentiment is there to look. I think having this amazing ANZAC Day through Driveway at Dawn is going to be very, very memorable. And I think it's interesting. I was just talking to the former Chief of Army, Peter Lay, when we did the video today, and he said to me, he goes, "You know what, Ivan, this is really something, this is something that we could maybe do every year for those veterans who aren't able to get out and march. They might be in a nursing home, or they may be incapacitated. And I think the real huge plus from this is that everyone's focused on how do we do something when you can't actually physically be there. And there are many of our veterans and their families and ex-service personnel who literally can't come to a dawn service, or they can't physically be there. And I think having all this innovation that's taken place, like yourselves, is really going to leave a lasting legacy for years to come.
We'll never replace the actual service, because the services are amazing, and the sense of pride and mateship that people get when they do go to the service is brilliant. But you're spot on. Next year, those that can't get to the service for whatever reason, well, now they know that there is another option, because we've done it this year. There is another option. And that not just for service people. I was talking to an old guy I know yesterday. Sorry, Bob, I didn't mean to call you old guy, but he is. But Bob had to stop going to our local service because our local service just got too big, and so there was nowhere for him to sit. So for his health, that wasn't good. He couldn't take his wife anymore because she's gone through cancer treatment. So she's immunocompromised, so she can't go, and he can't go with her. And so when I saw him during the week, he was just blown away that this means he can actually feel like he's participating again, because he misses going and remembering in the normal way. So this has given him permission to look outside the square and do something different, and not just for this year, but every year. So it's been amazing, sort of the ripple that we've created.
There's been quite a number of veterans that have said that. One of our members in particular, in the early, I think maybe a week into it, I won't name him, but he popped a post up saying that he does have PTSD, and he was really dreading ANZAC Day this year until he found the site. When he came on the site, he was feeling a lot of love. He's now coming out of his sort of trauma state, and he's been doing art. He's been out the front of the house taking photos with the kids. He's even done a Daily Telegraph interview for us, and he'll be on the radio with the Gold Coast Hit 90.9 this week. What else? He's going to come on with the Black Dog Institute with me as a community presenter. He's just found a new lease of life. And for me, doing the passion that I have for suicide prevention and mental well-being, that alone has made all of this worthwhile. And I'm sure he's not the only one out there that is feeling a little bit stronger as a result of being acknowledged, and in such a way that there's no dread and panic about being around 20 or 30,000 people on the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely amazing. Hey, look, other thing I'd like to sort of ask you about is we've talked about the actual service itself. Will there be an opportunity for people to upload photos on the app at the Dawn service? What's the plans there?
Very much so. It's difficult to show the app on screen, but I'm going to have a try. It just doesn't reflect very well, it does reflect very well, which is a problem. You'll see it reflects just brilliantly. But if I tip it the right way, sometimes.
Are we there? Oh, they can see that's the War Memorial.
Yep.
Aha. That's it.
When I touch the screen, the buttons appear. And over here, other side. Oh, everything's backwards. I just have to do this. You've got the camera and gallery. So what I'm going to do now is take a really quick photograph of my shiny head. Turn my camera around, so it's front and rear cameras. Terrible photo. I'll okay that, and you'll see the soldier on frame has gone around it. There's a few frames to choose from there. You'll see that I have the one that says I donated, because I did, and I can throw one with poppies around it as well. And it doesn't show up terribly well, but underneath that we have the 3 major social media media buttons. So just touching that, if I touch Facebook, it will come up with a pop-up saying, please use the hashtag ANZAC Day 2020.
Oh, that picture.
I'm a bit of a goofball. So it says, please use the hashtag. At the moment, it says ANZAC 2020. It's a slight boo-boo on our part. ANZAC Day 2020 when sharing this image. I say, got it. I hit Facebook for my feed. And I'm not logged in on my phone, but it would go straight to my wall. And by putting that hashtag in there, it enables us to search for that hashtag, and we can pull all of those photos together into a big gallery, and we can see people's front yards. We can see their mums, dads, or themselves, whatever, grandparents with their medals, whatever it is that they're wanting to take photos of. We'll have visibility to, and we'll be able to share that on the wall and create collages and the like.
Well, let me tell you an exciting thing that our chairman, the former Chief of Army, Peter Lay, has done is he's written today to Angus Campbell, the Chief of the Defence Force, and Greg Moriarty, the Secretary of Defence Forces, and put out a challenge to them to be part of Driveway at Dawn and to take a selfie. And he's putting up the challenge for the senior leadership at the Australian Defence Forces to attend this event organised by Driveway at Dawn. So there's a very high probability that those senior people will be participating in your event that you've organised. And
that's fantastic.
Peter's written to them today. So I think there's a very, very good chance that they will be part of this. And in fact, let's see if we can get the Prime Minister. There's a challenge. Why don't we get the Prime Minister to be part of Driveway at Dawn? I think through those on this platform, the 220,000 people, let's put some pressure on making sure that the Prime Minister appears on this platform as part of the ANZAC service.
Here's an idea. Take a short video of yourself saying, come on board ScoMo, and send it through to the group, and we will spam him with come on ScoMos, and we'll get him on board. Challenging members.
Let's put that challenge out to I saw you had Jackie Lambie, and she's I watched your video with her. An absolute fantastic supporter of the Australian Defence Forces and veterans. I really think that was an awesome interview that you guys did on your platform. And let's see if we can get all those politicians from both sides of politics. They've been quite bipartisan as part of COVID-19. Let's get them bipartisan and be part of this platform. All those senior politicians, the senior members of the Australian Defence Forces, to be part of Driveway at Dawn.
So I've been trying to get my local, I've got my local mayor and MP sorted. I'm planning to do a little quick interview with them sometime this week. I haven't told Jay that one yet, but I've got the mayor and the local MP pretty much sorted. I hadn't actually considered going higher than that. Although I had Mr. Hurley and Mrs. Hurley. They're lovely people. I met them last year when they were still the governor of New South Wales. And but I hadn't actually put it up that high to go that high. But I'm talking to you.
I've had a number of meetings with our joint patrons, the Governor General David Hurley and his lovely wife Linda Hurley. She also loves singing.
I know.
Yeah, so
she sang for us. Yeah.
Everyone's going to get a chance to see her sing it in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
So
she my sunshine to us when she came out to visit all our farmers during the drought. So it was amazing. She's that very lovely people.
They are lovely people. And look, I grew up in the Shire, so ScoMo is technically my local member. So my mum still lives in Gymea, and
I'm open to interviewing anybody. Who knows?
Well, let's put out the challenge. Let's put out the challenge. Our chair, the former Chief of Army, has put out the challenge to the senior leadership team of the Australian Defence Forces to be part of this, and I'm sure they'll come on board. And let's see if we can get the Prime Minister, the opposition leader, and other members of Parliament to be part of this as well.
Yeah.
Well, I had a phone call late last week from the ceremonial office of the RAAF asking how they could support us as well. So I've sent an email across there for it to go up the chain. And just this morning, based on the questions that I've seen floating around on the page, I emailed them again asking if there was any chance of a flyover, because a lot of people have been asking for that. So I'm putting the challenge out there, guys. Send in videos, because messages are great, but if you put your face to it, it's a lot more powerful. Take a 20-second video, say, come on, ScoMo, come on, ADF, get behind Aussies and Kiwis for ANZACs. Ivan, when I worked with you all those years ago, one of the things that impressed me so much about you as a leader in that communications field was that you were lobbying government. You were there in their faces pre-NBN, fighting for the small independent telcos to remain in charge of their own network. So I'm going to put the challenge to you to get in front of government and also say, come on, ScoMo.
I'm sure the Minister for the Department of Minister for Veteran Affairs down in Chester, other ministers that look after veterans affairs in all the states and territories, I'm sure they'll get them on board. Gordon Ramsay here in the ACT, where I'm based, is the Minister for Seniors and Veterans. I think anyone who's a minister for veterans or defence forces ought to be part of this amazing initiative. And I have to say, on an evening I sit there and I scroll through your feed, and just some of the posts are just unbelievable. It's just amazing. Some of the fantastic work of those who are part of this. I take my hat off to all of you. The camaraderie, the enthusiasm that everybody has really engaged in this platform. And look, and to you two as well, and to your team, your moderators doing the admin, I really would like, on behalf of Soldier On and the veteran community, you guys have really put something special together here. So well done to you guys as well. It's just amazing.
Thank you, Ivan.
Thank you. I'm thinking, sitting here, I'm thinking that all the officials and all of those, if they don't necessarily have to do a video, but if they just get a piece of paper and do hashtag ANZAC Day 2020 and post it to the group, that would be amazing. And I guarantee that, a minimum 220,000 people are going to see that and know that we have the support of all the people that are busy doing things for us at the moment.
It's hard to refuse almost 250,000 people all saying the same thing. It's really hard to say no to that. So we need your help to make that happen, guys.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is just a fantastic groundswell movement. So let's see if we can get those senior members of the ADF, the politicians, corporate leaders. So those, the other thing is getting some of those corporate leaders, and there are many. Part of your posts and listening and watching this that would be in senior corporate positions. Let's get their corporates behind. Let's see if we can get corporates to support Soldier On, support this initiative. And look, they did it in the UK with that 99-year-old fellow who walked around. He said he was going to do 100 laps, and they raised, what are they up to, £13 million or some crazy number?
Was the last I saw.
So 50. He wanted to raise £1,000. And he's up to £15 million. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do something here with this movement? Because I can assure you, any money that goes towards Soldier On will go to veterans and their families. This is not going to, we're not going to hold it in some sort of trust account. This will go towards supporting veterans and their families. So anyone that donates, I can assure you that that's where the money's going to go. It's going to go to veterans.
In fact, Ivan,
that's the link there.
That's the link there.
To donate to.
When we
Um,
first started talking, Ivan, when we were all on the phone together, and it was you, Barry, Ash, myself, and a couple of others whose names escape me, one of the things we talked about was that the money out that is raised from outside of Australia can be used to help establish your presence in New Zealand as well, bringing that connection of the two nations back together as one.
Correct. So what we will do is we'll ensure that any funds that have been raised in New Zealand will stay in New Zealand. So it's not like we'll take that money and utilise it to service Australian veterans. So any funds raised, I can assure anyone in New Zealand that's part of this, that money will stay in New Zealand. I was over there in February actually, and went over for the Elton John concert, which got cancelled. So 2020 has been a bit of a shocker. So I had bushfires where I was putting out bloody fires down in my property down at Malua Bay. Then we had the Elton John concert cancelled, and now we've got COVID-19. You know, I think it's like we must be living in some, virtual reality or something. And Donald Trump is the president.
There are some people out there that think exactly that, that we're living in a matrix type of situation.
Like someone's gone, what happens if I push this button?
We're going back to Ronald Reagan's years now, aren't we? For those over 40.
Yeah. Hopefully, once we settle into the new normal, it will actually be a better normal than what we previously had, and with a lot more connection, a lot more people focused on the true values of humanity. Really, just be kind, all those sort of things, and let's look after each other. So,
Absolutely.
Ivan, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming on and talking to us and sharing all those stories and all that information about the amazing charity work that you do with Soldier On Australia. And like I said, the link is just there, and it's in the comments. We'll make sure that whenever we share this feed, that link is there. And I'm going to end our thing today. Well, tomorrow
Very quickly, if you've got the app, very quickly, if you've got the app and you go into the camera and you select one of those frames with the pin on it, it will prompt you to donate, and you can go straight to the site from there. We're doing an update.
I had four choices this morning. I had the freebie, and then I had the donate one. So when I had a look,
there'll be an update in the next day or two to put donating into settings as well. So we'll make it easy for you to find. At the moment, it's there. It's just not obvious that it's there.
And one of the comments was about the Apple one. The app has been uploaded to Apple. We're just waiting for Apple to approve and release it onto the iTunes. So it will be there. It will be free, exactly like the other one. And absolute worst case scenario, there will be a website version available by the weekend for you. So you won't miss out. But if you've got Android, you're good to go. Apple should be good to go ASAP. And like I said, worst case scenario, if you can see this feed, then you've got internet. So you will be able to use the internet, the website version, which we will all will be announced on the website when we're there. The plan is to do at least one or two of these a day. So you will be updated with any updates for those. So you will know what's going on. Oh, there you go. Jody just went, yay. We're with you, Jody. We're excited too. So,
and let's see if we can get to 250,000 people following this on your site as well. I reckon we're only 30,000 short. And like if everyone actually just invited their friends, family, I mean, I reckon we'll get to 250,000. So let's see if we can get to 250,000.
And that's easy to do. That's really easy to do. Just go to the top of your screen, the top of the scroller there. There's an invite button. Sometimes it's hidden behind more. Hit invite, select all, okay. They can decline it. You're only going to upset your friends who don't want to come for a second. They'll hit decline, and then you can harass them at the next time you see them. Why did you decline that? But if every one of you managed to bring one more person on board, we'd have 440,000 people all saying,
Wow.
"Come on, ScoMo! Come on, ScoMo!"
Yes, go.
Now,
I'll put that video together for you, Justin.
Go get him!
You've
Go
been
get him!
watching our feed, Ivan, you will know that we have been beginning and finishing with a beautiful little clip. We have a new clip tonight. So this is the first time that I've played this one. And so I'm going to finish with this and say thank you again for joining us. And yeah, pop in anytime. Thank you.
Thanks, Ivan.
Bye.
Bye.